What's up, y'all, and welcome to another episode of Going In Raw with Shakira Deshawn. That is me, of course. If you have not listened to the previous episode, please go back and listen to that episode. That'll give you a little more insight into today's episode. So let's just jump right on in there. Last week was pretty heavy. Today will be more about my healing journey. We will definitely go back and discuss a lot of things in future episodes, like the abuse situation. I definitely want to tell that whole story and a lot of other abuse stories because that's something that for my healing journey, I need to leave in 2024. I do not and I will not bring that baggage into 25. So I didn't really go into full detail last episode. So let me tell y'all post leaving my marriage. So the thing that ultimately helped me make the decision to leave my marriage was the fact that I could not look my children in the face in the future when they're adults and they come to me and they say, Mom, my spouse is abusing me. And I can't look them in the face and tell them to leave because they'll look back and be like, well, Mom, you stayed. Why should I leave? That is the decision. That's what ultimately helped me make my decision to leave because that would break my heart. That's something I can't deal with. I won't deal with. So that is when I said, I have to go. I did stay not too long after it happened, just because I had to figure out my life. Like I said, I hadn't worked in like a year or two at that time. And I just had to figure out like what my next steps were forward. I got a job. I ended up getting a pretty great job at the time. Like when I tell y'all, God guided me. Like I just laid everything onto Him. I casted everything onto Him, and I was just like, God, I don't know how I'm gonna make it, but I gotta go. Like I have to leave this situation. This situation no longer serves me. And one thing I had to learn is that God will not allow peace in a situation you are not supposed to be in. I knew long before that happened that I wasn't supposed to be there. I don't want to dive too deep into that today because that is not what this is about, but we will go there because people were asking in my comments, like, did you see signs? We always see signs. But we'll just get into that in a different episode because that is not what I want to get into today. Today I want to talk about my healing journey and that yes, I had a moment in that previous episode where I allowed God to use me. God had to break me down that day because he's been telling me to do this. So that was a moment where he broke me down to where I could only call on him. And when I called on him, I could only hear his voice and what he was telling me to do. So you have to allow God to use you. Like you can't just be out here blind leading the blind. Like you have to have that faith in God that he got you. So when I decided to leave, one day I was just like, I'm out. I'm out. I can't do this no more. I'm out. Didn't, like I said, I didn't know what I was going to do. God guided my steps. When I left my marriage, I took nothing. Do you hear me? Please hear that clearly. Please hear that clearly. I took nothing. So let's back up a little bit. In 2019, I told myself I was leaving my marriage Christmas 2019. I ordered a bedroom suit. I ordered a bedroom suit. And that's the only thing I had. When I left this time for good, that's all I had was a bedroom suit. And I did end up taking one of the TVs because I didn't have a TV. But all I took was my bedroom suit that I ordered in 2019 and a television. So the thing about that was my kids leave for the summer and they leave for the entire summer. So they leave for 2 months of the summer every summer since I've lived further away from the grandparents. So I promised myself that by the end of that summer, when my kids came back, my house would be fully furnished. Didn't know how I was going to do it. I, I just figured it out. So boom, I leave and God is just guiding my steps. I start ordering stuff like y'all, when I tell y'all my job, the money was coming in like baby, within a month, I had furnished half of my apartment. By the time my kids come back, I have fully furnished my entire apartment. And not to mention, at that point in time, I was going through so many other things. My car had got hit on Easter that year. I was in a rental car. My rental car got hit. I was Ubering back and forth to work. Like when I tell y'all, I was going through it at that time, but God was also providing. Like I couldn't even complain. So boom, everything falls into place. I furnished my whole apartment. After furnishing my apartment, my next thing, I ended up getting a new car. Like everything was just falling into place. Like as things were breaking down, so many other things were falling into place. So after getting my new car, everything, I'm like, okay, God, cool. I go to therapy. So first day I walk into therapy, I only went to therapy for 3 months. Go to therapy. Do not think you can only go to therapy for a couple sessions. Don't think you only need a month of therapy. Therapy is a lifetime, okay? When I broke down a couple weeks ago, I realized that I need to stay in therapy. Yeah, I had it due to me being very self-aware, due to me calling myself out on my own shit. I can cope. I do have my own coping mechanisms, which I'm about to start talking about. But y'all go to therapy. You don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. I've always been a loner from my childhood. I always felt alone in my childhood. So a lot of things I battle alone, but I am learning right now that I do have a village. I do have people I can go to. So I'm unlearning a lot of old behaviors in this season of my life. So yeah, I go to therapy. My therapist gives me this book. I read this book and I do everything she needs me to do. And by my last session, that I decided was my last session, I should have kept going. I just decided to stop going at that point. I thought I was fixed. Yeah, we think we know everything, but God always comes around and shows us that we don't know everything. So from that therapy session, a lot did change. Like I created boundaries. Y'all, when I tell y'all boundaries are so important, boundaries are the most important thing that you need in relationships because I was always a people pleaser. I was always a people pleaser. Like when I tell you, had I stayed in that marriage, had God not removed family members, my mom and like I would have never came out with this. I honestly wouldn't have because I never wanted to hurt people's feelings. Even though everything was done to me, I always just internalized everything and I was just like, I just can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do this to them. Like I can't, even though, like I said, they were doing so much to me. That's just how it was. I was a people pleaser. So that's something I unlearned as well, to just unapologetically be myself through my therapy journey. I learned a few steps in therapy. I incorporated a few things and I just went on my healing journey. So when I first left my marriage, a couple months later, I started dating. Shouldn't have done that. But honestly, before you finally leave a relationship, you've been mentally gone for the longest. Started dating, realized pretty quickly that this wasn't for me, don't want to. So after around the time I stopped going to therapy, I stopped dating. I stopped dating all together, y'all. It was just something I realized that I just couldn't do anymore. 10 months, no dates, no sex, no nothing, okay? 10 months. So I just really dove into myself. I really poured love into myself, y'all. You have to realize that when you go on these healing journeys, part of that healing is giving yourself the love that you've searched for in everybody else. I've poured so much love into myself after leaving my marriage. I've learned so much about myself. Like when I tell y'all I owed myself so much, I owed myself so much. Like the woman I sit here today as, baby, she's stomping on the woman I used to be. Like she's stomping on the girl I used to be. I'm not even gonna say I used to be a woman. I was a girl. I was so broken. I was so just run down. Life had just run me down, y'all. Like y'all don't even know the half of my story yet. So I just started to pour love into myself. I started to see that if my kids are taken care of, mommy is coming first. Okay? Because if I can't pour into myself, how can I pour into my kids? If I don't love myself, how can I give love to these kids? So I had to learn what loving myself truly looked like for me. What loving yourself, it looks different for everybody. But for me, loving myself was waking up in the morning, building myself up, telling myself, you are beautiful, you are worthy, you are loved, you are deserving. Like I had to pour this into me. I used to have in my apartment before I moved into this one, I used to put sticky notes on my mirror. I had my mirror lined with sticky notes, and I would read those sticky notes every single day until it embedded in my brain. Now, where I currently live, I don't have those sticky notes anymore because I found that power within myself. I know who I am, and I'm very worthy, and I'm very deserving of what I'm already going through and what's, to come. So on my self-love journey, I incorporated a lot of self-care. I made sure I kept myself up. I made sure whatever the hell I woke up and wanted to do, I went and did. So another thing that's important to me, every day I deal with people. I deal with people every day of my life, all day of my life. I'm constantly talking to people. So one thing I started incorporating is if I wake up in the morning and I don't feel at 100%, I ask myself, what can I do to where I'm at 100% before I walk out this door and deal with people? Because if I walk out this door at anything less than 100%, I can't be who I need to be in my day. I'm going to feel so drained. And what that looks like for me is little things, little things. If I need to just meditate for a little bit, if I need to put on some money bag yo and just jam out and dance around my living room, like whatever that is. If I need to get on Sephora and order a perfume because that's going to make me feel better, like whatever that looks like for you, you do that. You make sure every day that you wake up, you are in a positive mood. That sets the tone for your entire day. When I had that breakdown in my last episode, I didn't do what I usually do in my day because my breakdown started the night before and it just peeled over into my day. Another thing I do, I don't take yesterday's problems into today. I leave it there. By the end of the night, I need to be over it. By the time I close my eyes, I need to be at peace with whatever the situation is so that I can sleep peacefully in my night and I can wake up in a new day. I don't like bringing baggage to the next day, and that doesn't matter what it is. I don't care if it's something with my children. I don't care if it's something internally within myself. I don't care if it's something, I don't care what it is. It's going to stay yesterday. I'm not bringing it into my next day. So that's another thing I do that's another thing that's just helped my healing process. All of our healing processes look different. Like I said, these are steps that work for me. They may not work for you. Another thing is I'm positive Patty, y'all. Like if you ask people, I am always positive. I am always finding the silver lining in things. I try to not be negative because when I go into that negative mindset, I can get stuck there. And when I get stuck there, stuff like that happens. So every day I just wake up and I'm in a positive mood. I speak life over my day. I speak life into myself. I tell myself this is going to be a good day and no one's going to tear my day down. Even if there's a moment in my day where it's just like, okay, you trying me, you trying it. I try to pull myself out of it. Or my friends will speak life into me. Like, girl, no. Like, we speak life into each other. And it's important to have a core group of people around you that speak life into you. But I do know we don't always have those people. I've not had those people before. How do I explain this? Because I've read a lot of comments and I've gotten a lot of messages of people saying they have nobody. It's important to, how do I say this, y'all? It's important to be exactly who you want to attract. A lot of times we think we are the people we want to attract. A lot of times God is sending us reflections of us. Like, if you're damaged, a lot of times you're going to get a damaged person. That's why it's important to really work on yourself and to really heal yourself, because you will keep meeting yourself and other people, or you will keep meeting the same people over and over and over. So I had to really do the work, like really go within myself and be like, I want to be a good friend. What does a good friend look like? How can I be a good friend to myself? Like, what does that look like? I had to learn that because I wasn't taught that. I wasn't shown love. I wasn't taught anything. I had to learn these things on my own through my journey. And like I'm gonna tell y'all, nothing is easy. Nothing comes easy. You cannot expect things to just fall out the sky. I'm a big manifester. Y'all, when I tell y'all I've manifested my butt off this year, last year, I've been a manifesting machine, okay? But in order for these manifestations to come true, you have to do the work. You have to do the work. And you have to be the person. You have to get up every day and show up as that person that you so desperately want to be. You have to be a willing participant in your healing. God is not just going to heal you overnight. There is work that you have to do, and you have to be able to listen to God. You have to have that discernment. You have to know when God is talking to you or when that devil is talking to you. You have to really build your relationship with God. Just in those moments, you sit in silence and just talk to him and listen. You have to be able to drown out your voice out of your thoughts. A lot of times it's our voice in our thoughts. You have to know how to silence that. It ain't easy, but with meditation, it comes. Just silencing your brain and just being like, God, like, just talk to me. God, show me. I promise you, he's going to show you. But you have to be a willing participant in your healing. This journey is a lifetime journey. Healing is a marathon. Healing is not a sprint. You also have to have faith in where God is taking you. We don't know. You don't have to know. You don't have to have the answers. Just have faith that God's will be done. And you let it be done. What exactly are you willing to do to be healed? What are you willing to go through? Are you willing to make sacrifices in your life? Are you willing to cut people off for your healing? Are you? Because I had to let the closest people to me go on this journey. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to buckle down and go through a season of being alone? Y'all, when I tell y'all that, that season after I left and lost those people, y'all, that was a lonely, lonely road. That was such a lonely road. God had to isolate me in that season. He had to get me away from those people for me to be able to stand here and sit here rather and tell my story. Because had I stayed connected to those people, like I said, I wouldn't be telling y'all my story today. I had to go through that period of isolation. I did not understand then. I was just so sad. Like, I couldn't believe it. But let me tell y'all this. Before all this shit hit the fan, I did ask God to remove people. I just wasn't okay with the people he removed. I wasn't okay with that. Why you gotta remove them? Why it gotta be them? Why you can't just heal their hearts, God? Why you can't just go sit on their beds and talk to them and just fix them, God? Like, why? Like, I was just so heartbroken. Y'all, I was so heartbroken in that season. I just didn't understand. I lacked so much understanding on why it had to be those people, why it had to be the people I loved most. But God said, I got to isolate you because where I'm taking you, everybody can't go. Everybody can't go where I'm taking you. And what I'm about to use you for, they can't go because I won't be able to use you in the way I need to use you if you stay attached to those people. Woo, that's a word, y'all. Woo, that's a word. I felt that in my soul. I got chills, y'all. Because that is exactly what it was. Now, looking back, I see that. But in those moments, I was hurt. I was broken. I was questioning him. I was upset with him. Because why? Why did the people I loved the most have to be removed from my life? He had to isolate me to heal my perspective so that those people couldn't taint my new reality. Oh, that's another word, y'all. Oh, y'all not hearing me. Y'all not hearing me. Y'all not hearing me. He had to isolate me to heal my perspective so that those people wouldn't taint my new reality. Let that sink in, y'all, because this is real. This is real life. So when God is removing people, you let him remove them. You let him remove them and you let him use you in whatever way he needs to use you. Because if you keep resisting, you will keep staying in the same situations, the same circumstances, and nothing is going to change. So going through that season, like I said, it was hard, y'all. It was so hard. Let me back up a little bit. Okay, so after that first year, therapy comes. Oh, y'all, when I tell y'all that following year, I was living my best life. I'm still living my best life, but when you really let God use you, those blessings fall out the sky. Like I said before, I was questioning how I was going to make ends meet. I have 2 children. I'm living by myself. How am I going to take care of these kids? How can I provide the lifestyle that I previously had? How can I provide this lifestyle for us? How can I maintain the lifestyle? I had so many questions, but y'all, when I tell y'all I was making the most money I ever made in my life, money was falling out the sky. Like literally, money was falling out of the sky. I was taking my kids. We were going on trips. I went on so many trips last year. It was ridiculous. I saved so much money. Like God was just showing me, like, I got you. I got you, little baby. I got you. But I allowed him to have me. I had to open my heart and let him in. Because like I spoke about before, I used to hate God. I had one of the worst relationships with God. It was 1 year. It wasn't even a year. It was a couple years. I didn't believe in God. And that's crazy for me to sit here and say. I did not believe in God. Because for me, there's no way God exists. There's no way God is real. And in those moments of me not believing were some of the moments in my marriage, my relationship, that a lot of shit was going on. Because I wasn't believing. I wasn't believing. But as I started to come out of that and I started to lean onto him and I started to find my own faith in him, because looking back on life, I saw circumstances where he pulled me through. And I'm still on my journey. I just wanted y'all to know that there's peace after pain. And again, I had a moment. That video was a moment. That video was not my life. I found peace after pain. And what finding peace looked like for me is acceptance. It is so hard to accept that people aren't supposed to be around. It was so hard for me to accept that my marriage was over. It was so hard for me to finally accept my mother for who she really was, and for me to stop going against it, because that child in me just craved her. That child in me just wept for her. I had to find so much peace within what was going on in my life. And what finding peace looked like for me is sitting with it. I sat with it. I reflected. I did a lot of reflection. I do a lot of reflection on my journey. And I sit with my emotions. I sit with them. I feel them. I release them. And I make peace with them. I accept everybody for who they are. I had to accept that they can't be here on this journey with me. I had to accept the fact that I will mourn this probably for the rest of my life. But that is okay. It is okay to mourn something that you lose, but just don't stay there. Accept it. Find peace within it, whatever it looks like for you, because it's easier said than done. My journey won't be your journey. Your journey is not my journey. But try to find peace. Just try to find peace. Ask God for peace. Ask God to guide you and follow those steps. A lot of things come to me in my dreams. A lot of things come to me. God wakes me up. This is crazy. God wakes me up almost the same time every morning. Every single morning, no matter what time I go to bed, I wake up at the same time every morning. And that's where I get the most guidance. That's where he really talks to me and tells me what I need to talk. I will wake up at that time and I will go to my phone and I will just start putting stuff in my notes. Because that is the time he wakes me up, because that is when my mind is at peace. My mind is quiet. Because like I said, I left yesterday's shit yesterday and this is a new day, and he wakes me up bright and early. Like 3, he always wakes me up between 3 and 4. Every single day I wake up at the same time between 3 and 4. And that's where he talks to me, and I talk to him, and we just sit there and we have a conversation. And sometimes he tells me what I need to do. Sometimes he tells me who I need to stay away from. Sometimes he just be talking, and I just be listening. And we just sit there and we have a conversation. Because for me, I talk to God like he's my homeboy. Okay? I talk to him like he's my homeboy, like I've said before. And you got to build whatever your relationship looks like with God, whatever that looks like for you is what you have to build. But for me, this is what it looks like. I've allowed him to cleanse my heart. I used to be hateful, y'all. I used to want people to feel what I felt. I used to want people, I was a lick. Yeah, I'm going to get my motherfucking lick back. What? You think you just going to, and I'm just going, I still battle with this today, honestly. Being honest, like in the dating world, I'm a lick back getting mother effer. Do you hear me? When a dude do something, I'll be like, now I'm about to show you. Now I'm about to walk you. Now I'm about to walk you like a dog. I'm working on that. I'm a work in progress. I'm not perfect. But I have to talk to God about it sometimes. Like, God, like, what's up? What's up? Your boy playing with me. You already know what I'm going to do to him. You better go over there and talk to him. I used to be hateful, y'all. I had to ask God to heal my heart. And I'm the type of person, I don't bother nobody. I don't bother nobody. So when people do stuff to me, I take it to the chest. And that's something I have to learn to stop doing. That's still part of my healing process. Because why that man had to do me like that? Why my mama had to do me like that? Why my brother had to do me like that? Why people had to betray me in the ways that they betrayed me? I'm still asking God to heal my heart. No, I don't wish nothing on them. I'm past that. But I'm still a work in progress, because why they had to do that? I have to constantly ask God. So just don't be afraid to ask God for guidance. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's how to make some chicken tonight and you ain't got a recipe. You talk to God about it. He gonna get you through. You have faith. Faith is number one. Without faith, we are nothing. Without God, we are nothing. God's love is the best love. And a lot of people in my comments were saying, like, I guess a lot of people look at a quick clip and they think that that's your life. They think that this is just your everyday life. This is just what you're going through. Like, y'all, I am a very happy person. And it took me a long time to get here because I knew pain. My 30s, when I turned 30, I promised myself that my 30s are for me. I gave my 20s to people that didn't deserve it. All my 20s. From 20 to 29, 30, I gave that to people. I didn't give that to myself. So I spent my 30s loving on me, pouring into me. When I tell you, if I put a picture up of what I looked like in my 20s, I look better in my 30s because life had been sucked out of me. Life had been, I'm going to post a picture one day. When I tell y'all that the things I went through sucked the life out of me, my marriage sucked the life out of me. My mother sucked the life out of me. Those relationships sucked the life out of me. I didn't see how draining they were. Another thing is having gratitude. You have to wake up every day grateful for what is going right in your life. Everything ain't perfect. Everything ain't going to always be what you want it to be. But you wake up every day and you thank God for what you do have, because there's always somebody out here with less. There's always somebody going through more. And you can't forget that. Every day I wake up and I give thanks. I talk to God all day, every day. I'm always in my head. I'm an overthinker. I literally live up here. And I talk to God and I ask God, I thank God. Because life could be so much worse. And that's also how I found understanding, because I lacked understanding for what I went through. But as I continue this journey and as I grow with you guys, I'll get deeper into it or whatever. But I found my purpose. I found power in who I am. And I don't lack that understanding anymore. And let me say this. Because one person in my comments said I was a victim. So let me be very, very clear. I'm not a victim. I've never been a victim. I'm a survivor. All I know how to do is survive. I will keep surviving. We will keep surviving. And we will do this together. Don't ever let somebody tell you you a victim. You're not a victim. A victim of what? A victim to who? Of who victim? Me? A victim? The way I done ate all this shit I done been through, I wish I would call myself a victim. I done ate this shit. I could never be a victim. I'm a survivor. That's all I know how to do is survive. And we will keep surviving. And we will keep going. And we will keep growing. And we will keep giving love and lights. Okay, baby? Don't ever think I'm a victim. Anyway, I just had to say that because he pissed me off in my comments. But I know I'm going to have to learn how to stay out of the comments, which I'm going to work on that too, because they'll always have negative people with negative things to say. And that goes on to say, don't let negativity get into you. I don't care what it is. Okay, so for instance, let me say this. No, I'm going to say that for another video.